In 2000, director Kwon-taek made his 97th film, named Chun-hyang. In the history of Korean cinema, the classic Korean The Tale of Faithful Chun-hyang or The Tale of Chun-hyang is the most popular theme. Without exaggeration, we can say that the story of the young and devoted Chun-hyang is loved by all Koreans. Koreans' fascination with constantly suffering heroes who remain faithful for their loved ones in the most monstrous and tragic circumstances has been grown on the popular story of the devoted beauty Chun-hyang. In 1954, the story Chun-hyang was published in Russian in the USSR in the translation of the famous Soviet and Russian woman philologist and Korean scholar Adelaida Fedorovna Tratsevich, who was born in 1930, with a very detailed subtitle. The Tale of the Most Faithful of the Faithful Wives, about unmatched before or now, about Chun-hyang. During the 20th century, from the early years of Korean cinema history to 1976, 10 films about the devotee Chun-hyang were made. In 1923, based on the most popular Korean Confucian fairy tale, The Tale of Chun-hyang, the Japanese filmed a silent black and white film directed by Matsujiro Hayakawa. Koreans were involved in the screening of the film only as pyeonsa, commentators. In 1935, two brothers, director Lee Pil-woo and cinematographer Lee Myung-woo, filmed the first Korean version of the Chun-hyang devotee. The Lee brothers' The Tale of Chun-hyang is also the first Korean sound film. In 1955, the famous Korean director Lee Gyu-hwan made a black and white sound film Chun-hyang's Story. It was one of the first South Korean sound films. The script was written by Lee Gyu-hwan during the Civil War. The film was a great success. It was watched by 150,000 spectators. Since Lee Gyu-hwan's 1955 version, The Tale of Chun-hyang has been filmed almost every decade. All famous Korean directors considered it their duty to shoot their own version of the devoted beauty Chun-hyang. In 1961, Shin Sang-ok made the first South Korean widescreen film in color, Seon Chun-hyang. It was the most famous and commercially successful version of Chun-hyang in the history of South Korean cinema. For the first time in the history of South Korean cinema, in his film, director Shin Sang-ok used the traditional Korean recitative Pansori, performed by the female singer Kim So-hee, 1917-1995, in the traditional version of the faithful Chun-hyang. Kwon-taek's film Chun-hyang is the 11th film adaptation of the Confucian tale in the history of South Korean cinema about the devoted young Sen Chun-hyang, who courageously endured humiliation and physical suffering, while maintaining a devotion to the young nobleman Lee Mon-ryong. Kwon-taek's film is based on the famous classic recitative song version Pansori of the Tale of Faithful Chun-hyang. Kwon-taek's version is a perfect illustration of the performance of a Pansori singer, recounting an old Confucian legend about the devotee Chun-hyang. Along with the young actors who played the main roles of lovers, the famous Korean actor Lee Ha-ryun very reservedly and at the same time with a lot of humor introduces the male Pansori performer Ton Pyong-jae. More famous in Korea than the female performance made famous by Kwon-taek Pansori in his film Sapyeonjae. That is why at the beginning of the film and some episodes, Kwon-taek shows several young people the same age as the heroes of the legend of Chun-hyang, who first came to the Pansori performance. Kwon-taek demonstrates how Pansori performances of Korean opera take place. On stage, the Pansori performer immediately warns that the performance will last 5 hours, but with 2 breaks for natural needs, and he begins to perform the Tale of Chun-hyang at a very high level of emotional and physical stress. Kwon-taek's Chun-hyang is the second film trilogy in his native Chola Namdo dialect, after the acclaimed musical film Sapyeonjae. In the modern version, a narrative is combined with a rhythm of Pansori, and the dialect is poeticized and full of humor and nuances, and rises to the art of refined speech and singing. For the first time in the history of Korean cinema, Kwon-taek's film Chun-hyang was selected to compete at the Cannes International Film Festival. The film did not receive the Palme d'Or. The Korean Film Critics Association awarded the film Chun-hyang in the nomination Best Cinematographer. In 2000, Chun-hyang won the Special Jury Prize at the Asia Pacific International Film Festival. Perhaps thanks to Kwon-taek's film Sapyeonjae and Chun-hyang, the traditional Korean art of Pansori is ranked number 5 on the list of the most important intangible assets of Korea. And in 2003, UNESCO included Pansori, an epic story accompanied by a drum performed with expressive singing, recitative and gestures, in the list of masterpieces of the oral and intangible cultural heritage at number 70.